Here we are for I Know What You Watched Last Week, episode 12, on this rain soaked, windy, miserable day.
Very fitting.
Hopefully, this will cheer me up. So, run us through what did we watch, and then take us through your number 3 to number 1.
Yeah, so welcome everyone. And I'm afraid to say that the 3 films I'm going to mention, at least I won't speak for both of us, but I can't recommend any of them. So if you don't like people talking about things that they didn't enjoy, then feel free to tune out now. And if not, then let's carry on. So we watched Demonic, No Way Up, and Bring Her to Me.
Yes. There could be a whole bunch of movies probably called Demonic.
Yeah, and for some reason, whenever it's been on our listings, I've dubbed it Demonique. So
Yeah, this is the one that is
for no reason.
It's produced by James Wan, so that's how you can separate it. Maria Bello was also in it. So yes, your number 3 to number 1.
I'm really disappointed at that information because I think Demonic is probably my least favourite, number 3. Then No Way Up. And just, yeah, I guess that means that Bring Her to Me gets first place.
Yes, that means it gets the double seal of approval, because that is obviously clearly my number 1.
Yeah.
The only struggle I had was deciding what was going to come bottom, and I think I'm going to put no Way Up bottom, and
Okay.
I'll put Demonic number 2.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were both equally poor, but at least I can say that No Way Up for some reason stuck in my memory a lot better. So
Let's start
I'll
off
give
with
it that.
Demonic then.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping that you were going to remember it, because before we even started watching it this time, on our streaming service, it was under the list Watch It Again. And I said to myself, have we seen this movie?
I just assumed you'd scrolled through it and fast forward or something.
Yeah,
as you
that's what I
occasionally
thought.
do.
And it took about, I don't know, it took me to get to that certain scene.
Took you ages.
Yeah, to recognise anything.
I realised quite quickly that we had seen it before, but it was one of those cases where as the scenes are happening, I remember it, but I don't know what's coming.
So even after watching it last week, it's such a dull movie, and whatever you want to call it, that it just doesn't stick in the mind whatsoever. It's stuck in my mind a little bit more now. I know that Maria Bello's in it, Frank Grillo is in it. They do a perfectly fine job. That's not what it's about. It's just I still couldn't tell you anything that stands out from this movie.
Well, one thing that I remember quite clearly, but I don't like about it, was the format of not showing the events that are in the sort of bio description in real time. It's sort of more flashbacks and footage from an interview where the survivor is being interviewed by police and some sort of police psychologist or something, I think.
That's the scene that I remembered, because they go back to that particular setup a whole bunch of times.
That setup is so bad. Just, it was the same shot in this tiny area. I mean, I'm assuming this was low budget because
3 million.
Okay, that would be considered relatively low budget, but compared to some of the things we've seen, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot of money.
I just thought that looked really amateurish because it was...
when you consider Saw costs like 1.2 million or something like that, then look what they did with
you
that.
can do a lot just to make the set a bit interesting.
Hellraiser was $1 million.
I didn't feel like there was any love or care given to the
You've
details.
seen this movie a bunch of times. You've seen this movie a bunch of times before.
Yeah, it's not a new concept.
It's just a different
but
title.
done worse. I think there was no thing that was different about it was that it wasn't just kids in a house slowly succumbing to some demonic presence. The thing that made it different was that it was the interview situation and then the twist at the end, if you want to call it that. But it was like the worst part then.
Yeah,
of
the
that
twist was
film.
hardly Sixth Sense, was it?
It wasn't. It was a semi-twist, I guess.
What was the twist?
Turned out the guy being interviewed was the demon.
I think that guy, I'm not sure of his name, but he's in Eurotrip, if anyone's seen that movie. And I had a quick look at his bio, and it seems that he hasn't acted since 2017, so don't know what's happened to him. Demonic couldn't have helped his career.
Now that I think about it, it reminds me a little bit of the Nefarious setup. A lot of talking and not much actually happening.
This movie was way better than Nefarious. And that says everything about Nefarious, really. I'd watch Demonic again 100 times out of 100.
Well, at least you won't remember any of it, so it just slips right out of your mind again after watching.
It won't annoy me, it won't bug me. Yeah, the thing I mentioned early on, this is produced by James Wan. It's exec produced by the Weinstein brothers, and yeah, it just goes to show that when someone just puts their name to something as a producer, if they've made top quality movies themselves in the past, doesn't necessarily mean that their name attached behind the scenes is going to make it any good or anything like that. This is one of the only disappointing movies that I've ever seen with James Wan's name attached to it, because obviously, as you well know, I'm a big fan.
It missed the quality control checks, so I guess, yeah. I don't know.
I'm sure as a producer he wasn't really doing much. In name only, I assume.
Well, it makes me watch something if he's attached, so...
Yeah, that's the most interesting part of the movie for me, is that it was James Wan was attached to it somewhat, and after that, I've not really got much to say about it.
There's not really much to say, no. It was really dull. I remember, like, just 2 shots, essentially, because they kept being used throughout the whole film, so...
Really unimaginative.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a waste of time. I mean, so...
Let's move on to No Way Up.
Yeah.
Which was my bottom.
Yeah, and I was excited to watch this one.
Because you love shark movies.
Because I love... And crocodilators? Crocodile/alligator movies. Any sort of, water. I'll take Piranha as well. Just water...
Piranha 3D, 3DD.
Yeah.
Love them both.
Water danger.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? That should be that's
well,
the genre,
I guess that could be the subgenre, yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely a soft spot of mine, because...
God, this movie just irritated me.
Okay, and I have to say, when we were looking at the cast list, it turns out I know someone who's in it, and I was really pleased for them that they were in it, but then after seeing it, I just thought he's been done...
A disservice
by this whole... And
this isn't biased either, but he was arguably the best guy in it.
Yeah, but I just feel like with productions like this, even if you're a really good actor, the way it was directed and cut, or I don't know who made the decisions on some of these things, but all of the moments were unbelievable, and especially in conjunction with the rest of them.
Just quickly, what is this movie about?
Yeah, it's a bunch of people. There's a plane crash. Next thing you know, the plane is at the bottom of the ocean, and half broken, so it's slowly filling with water. There's a few survivors, and it's shark-infested waters.
There we go. So before we get to the plane crash and the flight, we meet all of our characters at the airport, and Colm Meaney, I'm not sure how you say his name, Colm or Colm Meaney, people would have seen him in loads of stuff, really good actor. He is a bodyguard to the female lead, whose father is like a politician.
The mayor or something.
And she has a boyfriend, and his best friend has come along for this trip. There's also, away from these people, there's a grandma and grandpa who are with their granddaughter. And all of these people, apart from maybe
And the flight attendants, don't forget.
Do we meet them in the airport before the flight?
Okay, maybe in the build-up to it.
Don't interrupt then. So all of these people, the grandma, grandpa with their grandchild, and the 3 friends together, they're just all instantly, for me, completely unlikable, and I just wanted them all to die straight away before they'd even really fleshed out what little character they had anyway. The comic relief guy, who was the best friend to the boy and girl couple, is, he's from the Attenborough family, as in David Attenborough, right? And as I say, he's supposed to be the comic relief, and he's just making. Like, I don't mind what you make jokes about as long as it's funny, but when he gets onto the flight, he's making jokes about the flight attendant guy who's a gay fella, and it was just like the writing of the joke and everything like that was just absolutely
so
atrocious. It was
bad.
horrible, and the fact that the people that we're supposed to side with, aka the young couple, laugh at his joke. I'm like, what is wrong with you two? And so they laugh at his joke, his lame joke, his terrible joke, and then later on we're supposed to sympathise with them on many levels because this is a talky movie. It's like, oh my god, I tried to do this one time, and everyone's like boo-hooing, and yeah, I just wanted everybody to die. And then when we finally get to the part where they could die, this is marketed as a shark movie,
Yeah.
and there is no goddamn shark in this movie. For the most part,
Well,
there is
that's
no
probably a
shark.
good thing because
And
when you do see it,
it's only a good thing if the movie is Jaws, where you suggest the shark to build tension and stuff. But there's only one Jaws. I know we've got Jaws 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, but there's only one Jaws. You know what I mean? Let me preface this by saying that my second favourite, actually no, Jaws is probably my second favourite shark movie of all time.
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea is my number one, and I'm well aware that Jaws is a better movie than Deep Blue Sea, but it's just about the enjoyment factor. I just love the popcorn nature of Deep Blue Sea. Got a really cool cast.
That one's really intertwined with my childhood for me as well, so that's why I have a soft spot for it.
It's just a fun movie. You get to see the shark a lot. The shark does a lot of action.
Bill Skarsgård.
He's chasing
Stellan, I mean.
He's chasing LL Cool J with his parrot and things like that.
Yeah.
Thomas Jane's in it. Samuel L. Jackson obviously gets taken out. So I'm getting too excited about Deep Blue Sea now. So that's my favourite one. Jaws is my second favourite, and my third favourite, just to show you that I'm not expecting much from shark movies. My third favourite is Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's it.
It's anyway. It has Lorenzo Lamas in it, and that's the one that essentially started off the whole, Mega Shark versus this, that, and the other kind of movies. So I'm not that hard to impress, or, it's not that hard for me to enjoy a movie when it comes to it's a silly shark movie.
Yeah.
But No Way Up had nothing going for it, and even when we do see the shark, considering this movie cost $2 million. I don't know if they spent all the money in a water tank or something like this, because when we even see the sharks, they look just
That's what I was going to say.
atrocious.
It's a better thing for this particular production that we don't see the shark that often because they're just so bad.
But then you wonder, where did the money go? So the sharks are awful. So I've got to ask again, where did all this money go? And also say it was Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, which
Not
is my
Crocosaurus.
yeah. I'm sure there is probably a Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus movie as well.
Yeah, and also the thing that is the most shocking about how bad this is production wise, I've said this before in other episodes of I Know What You Watched last week, that with these water danger movies, I don't feel like you have to do that much. Just put them in a state of constant danger and you're trying to wonder how they're going to get out, and it's good enough for me. But the thing is, this one also kept taking you completely out of the moment with things like you said, of the couple laughing at a bad joke, or for example when one of them gets attacked by one of these sharks. Building up to this point, everyone's been very careful to steer as far away from the body of water in the plane as possible, right? Because they're like, well, I don't want to get attacked by a shark in the water, so I'll stay away from it. And at one point, one of the characters goes into the water to go and get something. Everyone's worried, is he going to survive? And he comes back, and he's waist deep in the water, and he stands up and does that classic horror thing of like, hey, 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 jokey, jokey, I didn't get killed. And then, bam, he gets eaten by a shark. But that moment, again, I was like, the director should have stepped in and been like, this isn't the right emotion for this moment, considering what we've built up in the film so far, because it was just so wrong that when the shark got him, it was almost funny. And there's another one that I could not believe when you think they're about to be rescued. There's a deep sea divers who've come to, save them from this bottom of the ocean. And you see him through one of the windows of the plane, like a porthole. Mm-hmm. And the scuba guy is out there. He's doing his little wavy thing in an almost comedic way. And of course, the people in the plane see the shark swimming closer and closer to the diver. He disappears, he gets the diver. But again, the way it was done, I was like, this. It's like they're trying to make this comedy for these few seconds and then go back to being some tense drama. It was so out of place.
It's because the guy who... This is the guy's first stab at writing a movie. But he's been in the movie business, it seems, for a long, long time, producing stuff, but doing everything under the sun, right? And he would have done movies that a lot of people would have heard about as well.
Yeah, actually, you've literally just brought me back. I meandered from my own point. That was what my point was going to be. That you were telling me that this guy had already been part of, in some way or other, making shark movies before.
Yeah, the other one that I noticed that I'd seen was some movie called Great White, which, again, I don't remember anything about it. All I've seen is that I thought it was, again, atrocious, but I don't think I thought it was as bad as this one. This guy, Mr. Grayson, I think his name is...
With the rope.
Let's have a look here. Mr. Mason. So maybe Mr. Mason should just stick to the production side of it, because he should never be allowed to hold a pen, pencil, quill.
Did he direct it, or was
No,
that someone else?
he just wrote, but the script was the worst thing about it. It was just absolutely horrible. Just horrible.
Yeah, I still
No
think
redeeming
though
qualities
there were some very
whatsoever.
strange decisions made in the direction that just amped up how bad the script
I
was.
don't normally get annoyed by movies. This movie was just bugging me throughout. You know, I'd hit my limit after about 20 minutes maximum, hadn't I? I was already just...
Yeah.
I couldn't take this movie. It was so bad.
I still was giving it a chance. For
And
its
let's...
genre.
You know, if you just think we're bashing this movie, all you need to know is when the end credits rolled, when it got to the bottom of the credits, it said that this movie was assisted by the British government, who can't get sod all right about anything. What are they doing getting involved in movies? You know, if the British government is involved, it's going to be an absolute shit show. And this was.
Yeah, well, you know, we're going to be getting like, tax rebates and whatnot from the British government, so...
I don't want to film in the UK. But yeah, but no, normally you don't see at the end credits, like in big, bold characters, the British government helped make this movie.
I thought it was the BFI, wasn't
No,
it?
no,
Or was it just...
specifically said the British government.
So random. Yeah.
It's not BFI, the British government. So that's like, you know, having obviously an American feature, and at the end just saying, you know, this movie was brought to you by Joe Biden or Donald Trump or whoever's come before. You know, they're all useless. British government plus shark movie equals bloody awful.
Well, government and the arts should be very different things.
I'd never watch this movie ever again. In fact, I'll just try and stay as far away from it as I possibly could. And going back to me just wanting everyone to die,
The bloody racket.
sounds like
out
there's
there.
a tractor outside or something. That's it. Wanting everyone to die, that also doesn't end satisfactorily either.
Yeah.
It doesn't end even when the people die. They're not munched enough for me. The shark gets no action.
No. It was so poorly done, and for someone who's already been around shark movies before that were at least better than this one, it's just even more baffling to me that you can go so wrong.
Is this the worst shark movie? We've seen a lot of shark movies.
A lot. I don't know. There's so many crap movies in that genre.
I say you should watch Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus instead. Starring the one and only Lorenzo Lamas.
But then some of the bad ones are enjoyable as well, so it just depends in what way it's bad.
That says everything. This movie wasn't even bad enjoyable, it was just bad.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Stop it.
Yeah. Let's get on to the number one pick. Bring her to me!
Yeah. I have to admit, we actually kind of skimmed through a second watch of this to refresh our memories.
Yeah, just briefly.
And again, just watching those bits, I feel like this could be, in a few years' time, something that I'm desperate to rewatch just for the sort of
I'd rewatch it right now
nostalgia. Because it's got some
we could get off
iconic
camera
moments.
and put it on. Again, I'll watch it twice in one day.
the performances.
This is, before you get into all of that, this is a full moon feature. I love a bit of full moon. We've mentioned full moon before because we watched Don't Let Her In quite recently, and this is a new format for full moon features because they used to be, make movies that lasted an hour and a half, just the general runtime for a horror movie. Whereas now they seem to have transitioned into long episodic movies. So what I mean is they last just under an hour, as this movie did. And if you know what to expect, which is kind of like low budget, corny, some pretty dire acting, and and if you can either get past or enjoy all that. I enjoy all those things. Then this is a very entertaining movie. Just like Don't Let Her In, this movie had all those same elements. So before we even get the opening Full Moon Features logo, we hear a character. There's only four actors in this movie. So a lady called Abigail, and she's doing behind a black screen. She's doing her, what would you call it? Her chanting, her spells, and it's along the lines of just a reckety meckety schmeckety beckety schmockety bockety bock. It's just like a load of like gobbledygook, and that's literally the first thing you hear. That's how this movie opens, and we finally come out of the black screen after the Full Moon feature logo, and we have our protagonist, Mara, and straight away she's smoking weed in the opening scene and getting ready to go to bed naked, and as she gets into bed, she has her opening dream of the movie, because this movie is all about her having not problems sleeping. She says that she sleeps too well, but the problem is that she keeps having these really deep dreams / nightmares. So we straight away have her opening dream of a guy just saying, "Come to me, come to me." So that's the kind of like basic level of this movie. Yeah. Do you want to hit me with anything before I run through everything that I've got to say about this?
Well, no, I have a lot of things to say, but okay. I'll see where you take it.
I'll let you chime in on the points that I make. So after this dream, the next scene we see, Mara goes to the coffee shop, and it's her local coffee shop, and she knows the barista, a guy called Raziel, and she's telling Raziel.
Well, they seem to be pretty close.
Yeah, well, like I said, she knows the barista. I thought I made that pretty clear. So she's talking to Raziel about these sleeping problems that she's having. And so like takes her outside for a walk, and he starts grilling her on her man situation, and she's like, "Oh no, I haven't really been on a dating scene, yada yada yada." To which he ends this part of the conversation with, "Maybe you just need a little and he like pumps his fists. Actually, I don't think he actually says he just does the fist action, and she's like,
which is almost worse.
Oh, Raziel. And she sits down at the end of the alleyway. She starts talking to him about how she needs help and all this. And he suggests that she sees this dream therapist that he knows. And then...
Well, I already need to jump in here, because just from what you've mentioned, I've got some comments. So first of all, I noticed the scenes are played out also in very few locations. And those locations, again, are terrible.
What?
I could get away with her bedroom, whatever, it's got the basics, but like the cafe where she's supposed to go, there's never any sort of life going on around. She must be the only customer.
She is the only customer.
And I'm pretty sure that's not shot in a cafe or something, because the way it's framed again, the way it's set up,
I remember the cafe being really bare.
It's like a student film on no budget, just trying to make do with what they can find.
It was really bare to the point where I'm trying to rack my brain if did I even see a coffee machine or a fridge in there. It's just a counter and a guy with an apron.
Yeah, there's a lot insinuated off screen, but that's what I'm saying. It's
even when he hands her coffee in the paper cup with the plastic topping, there's something about it. You can just tell that it's empty. Yeah, all these little things. So,
and his acting was...
The guy that plays Raziel.
I would say, of the 4 actors / characters who are in this film, one of the entertaining things is the fact that 3 of them are so hammy in their performances. It's like they're doing some kind of theatre production for young kids, it's
For me, this is
hilarious.
what makes the movie. All these things combining together. As I was explaining, kind of, Razil then says to Mara about the dream therapist.
brings this older woman friend of his.
So they make a date to do the dream therapy, and she comes around. Her name is Miss Abigail. She comes into Mara's apartment and she sits her down on like the couch and tells Mara to relax, while she and Razil sit next to her while she explains what she's been seeing in her dreams and all this kind of stuff. So she does all this, and then Miss Abigail tells her, right, now that you've explained everything that you've been going through in your dreams, please get ready for bed, and I'm going to watch you sleep, essentially.
Yeah.
So Mara leaves the room
Yeah.
and gets ready for bed, comes out in a skimpy vest and a tiny pair of black panties.
Which, apart from the colour, is basically the uniform of all horror actresses at some point or other. Tank top and panties.
When Mara is explaining what goes on in her dream to Abigail as well, she says, oh, I can feel this guy, he's all around me, I can almost feel him on me. And then Abigail goes, in you? To which Razil kind of like shakes his head, is like, Abigail? And she's like, what? I'm just asking. Kind of,
Yeah.
What a pervert. And then, yeah, obviously, Mara's like, no, not in me.
But I have to give the Mara actress she's very pretty.
She is, yeah. And much like the movie Don't Let Her In,
Yeah.
the demon lady in that was very attractive. And even the lady who lived in the apartment before, and very different style. She's supposed to be like the good girl, she was very attractive too. So you got all this is very...
Always something in there for the male audience.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
lesbian audience.
Yeah. And so when Abigail puts Mara to sleep to kind of study her while she's sleeping, we go into Mara's dream. And
It's
Mara's
like bed
dream,
knobs and
Mara's
broomsticks.
dream
She's, like,
is
floating
essentially
from the bed.
a green screen of the LA skyline, and she's flying through the LA skyline on her bed. It's absolutely brilliant. And as she finishes flying through Los Angeles, she comes to this like pink and blue vortex / portal, which finally brings her through to the lair where this demon guy is. And the demon guy is this whole thing.
I thought he was supposed to be like the devil. and
No,
that was
his
supposed to be
name in the
hell.
credits is the demon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what you get, is the demon. And so we kind of like don't really know at the moment why Mara is drawn to this demon guy in his dreams. So she gets there and they have like a little powwow for a second, just like almost like, how are you doing? It's almost like there's no urgency to anything.
She's just appeared in this realm with a demon.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So she gets to the other dimension. Now, this is kind of away from the movie, but I just had to mention it quickly. When she wakes up in the lair, she looks up, I believe, and above her, we see a collage of blinking eyes, like eyeballs just blinking. Now, in the short movie that we've made for our upcoming movie Heathen, in the short, we use a collage of blinking eyes at one point, and I think this movie cost like $120,000. Our one cost $25, and our collage of eyes rips to shreds the collage of eyes in Bring Her to Me. So there's no excuse for that.
It's shocking when you think, you know, neither of us have any experience with that kind of editing, and yet we managed to make it look better than people who supposedly do it for a living.
So back to the movie. When she wakes up in the lair, we hear the demon, he's in human form, and he says, Mara, Mara,
His
mwahahahaha. Your journey must have worked up quite the appetite. Whatever you desire here is yours. And then he like puts his back to her and turns around, and he has a platter of exotic fruit. And like Mara kind of like turns her nose up at it, and he says, is this sustenance not to your liking? To which she says, oh, it's also lovely to see. And then the demon snaps back, but not to eat. So she's rejected the fruit. So he then turns his back to her again, and turns around, and he has a bottle of wine. And
I'm pretty sure each time they've done like a little puff of smoke, but carry on.
You are interrupting my performance of the demon.
No one can see your performance, but carry on.
You've ruined the momentum now.
Oh,
Absolutely ruined the momentum.
I'll cut that and we start again.
Now, where was I? So he's offered the fruit. She turn up her nose up at the fruit. Doesn't want that. So he turns his back to her again, and this time he turns around and he has a bottle of wine and he says, "Libations, perhaps," which is my favourite line in the entire movie.
Man, I
And
wish you
then
guys could see the performance we're getting.
He then pours her. It's probably like on a par with the real one, and I loved his performance, by the way, for what it was. So he says he pours the wine. He's like, "Thirsty," and she obviously she rejects this, and he's like, he can't believe that she keeps rejecting all this stuff. So he says something else and turns his back to her one final time. And when he turns around this time, he's got a tray full of cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, "Anything to make your time here enjoyable." To which he then takes a quick toot and he lifts his nose on the cocaine and he goes, "Most enjoyable."
So there you go, guys. Proof that demons also feel the effects of drugs.
Yeah, demons like exotic fruit, good wine, and top-notch toot. Now, while all this is going on, we cut back to Mara's apartment while she's having this dream, and all of a sudden, Abigail and Raziel have gone from human form to this weird. Well, Raziel is like this goblin guy,
Yeah,
and he has like a burnt face.
Bandages, and he's got
Yeah.
green slime coming out of his mouth.
So Raziel has green slime, bandages, and he has what do you call them? Prosthetics.
Prosthetics.
I think they spent too much time on him because then we go to Abigail, and all they've done to Abigail is take her hair down and put some black smudge on her face. I feel like they've run out of time or money or both, and just they've done her a complete disservice
It
with her
looked
makeup.
like they were attempting to do some kind of aging stage makeup where you put the shadows in to make wrinkles and stuff, but it just wasn't.
She just looks like she's been up a chimney.
It wasn't done very well.
So while Raziel and Abigail are next to her while she's dreaming, all of a sudden when they're in their evil form, they're saying things like, "He wants her. He's going to take her."
So pervy.
And it's not been long enough in the movie yet for him to take her. So Mara wakes up. She catches a brief glimpse of the two of them, Abigail and Raziel, in their real form. And then we quickly go back to the next morning, and Mara goes to the coffee shop again to see Raziel. And she's a little bit suspicious about what has happened the night before. Like, she's got a few questions to ask and all this. And Raziel gets a little bit defensive about it. He's like, "Hey man, I'm just trying to help you, blah, 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 blah,
That
blah."
guy's performance.
So as I said, this movie only lasts under an hour, so it moves really swiftly. So we've
Yeah.
had the dream, she's back in the coffee shop, and after that coffee shop scene, we're now back in the apartment where she's ready for her next night of sleep therapy. Once again, Mara walks off to get ready for the sleep therapy. And this time, instead of coming out walking towards the camera, she comes out facing away from the camera, and she's still wearing her skimpy red top and her black panties. And it's also revealed that it's actually a thong that she's wearing this whole time, because her lovely arse cheeks are just completely on show in the second round of sleep therapy. And it just makes you wonder.
Maybe she's got a thing for Raziel and she's like trying to really
Yeah,
slyly.
she almost somewhat comes onto Raziel at the beginning of the movie when they walk out the coffee shop, and he's saying to her, "Maybe just need a little bit of And when they carry on the conversation after that, she says to him, "You've never made a move on me, blah, 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 blah." And he says something along the lines of, "Well, I just live to serve. And turns out it's just not to serve you." Something like that. So straight away I was like, there's something up with these two. There's no way that he's going to turn her down.
He knows Daddy wants her.
Yeah. So she comes up wearing her thong, and then we get Raziel and Abigail once again just perving beside her. Like they're chanting, they're posing.
With a brilliant
Yeah,
chanting.
they're doing that brilliant chanting, which I mentioned at the beginning of this episode. And we finally go back to the lair, and the demon guy is sitting on his throne and he's stroking a skull. And once again, he tries to seal the deal but can't. So we're quickly back into the apartment, where it's revealed that the demon and Abigail are Raziel's parents. And then out of nowhere, mother and son start making out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to imagine, like, the poor guy that plays Raziel, he's got this beautiful young thing laying in the bed next to him, scantily clad, and he's like, right, now kiss Abigail. Nothing wrong with Abigail, she's a fine older lady. But, you know... but
Probably not his first choice.
They're quite far
is just what
apart
we're
in
saying.
age and stuff like this. And yeah, that pretty much brings us to the end of the movie, where we go back into the dream, and Mara all of a sudden is like sexually taking charge of the demon, and she's in complete control, and then she kind of lets the demon get on top, to which then he opens her top, revealing these goddess-like titties, so powerful that the demon can't take her soul, because as it turns out, Mara is a demon hunter, and she was after him all along, and just used Raziel and Abigail
She
as
was
bait.
playing them this whole time.
So then she rips out the demon's heart, feasts on it, goes back to the apartment where she is now taking control of Raziel. Raziel is like her little lapdog, and she then sets him onto his own mother.
Yeah.
And it ends pretty much, and that's the whole gist of the movie.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
Very entertaining performances. Possibly not for the reason you would want as director, but as a viewer, I'll take it. I think it actually added a lot to this.
I really look forward now. Now this is the second hour long. Let's just call it a movie. Full moon feature, hour long feature that we've seen, and I've really enjoyed both of them. And now I know that I'm gonna get. I just want the third one to be real. I think we might even have a third one on streaming.
There seems to be a lot of them, so...
Because we also watched real full moon features movie the other night as well, which will be in the next episode, which was Head of the Family, which was also like so bizarre out there.
I'm looking forward to speaking about that one next week.
So I have a history with full moon features just from growing up and watching certain movies of theirs. So yeah, this new format they've got, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's nice in this world of super long, unnecessarily long movies to get something that is just go, which I think when you just want something to entertain you and you're a bit tired, and it's the perfect thing, really.
It knows what it is, and it delivers the goods, no matter how cheesy. I was smiling all the way through it.
Yeah, I do enjoy the things that lower budget can bring out and things like that. For example, the performances. Because it just added so much. It was so funny, and Abigail has certainly mastered her witch's cackle.
Yeah, very good cackle.
That was used a lot. They clearly loved that. Yeah, for me, I guess as well, coming from theatre originally as an actor, maybe that's what hit home with the performances.
They're also great lines. So when Abigail is first introduced to Mara at the apartment, Abigail says, "Oh, do you have any tea? Would you be a dear and make me some tea?" And Raziel says something along the lines of, "Tea? I was hoping for something just a little bit stronger. How about a beer?" And it's the way that it's shot, the way that it's said, everything. It just fills me with joy.
Yeah.
I would also say that the demon makeup was I don't know. They've obviously put fake long nails on him. They've smothered his torso in like black paint, and then he's been given this demon head with these two they're really beady yellow eyes. I'm like, why are they giving him beady eyes? He just looks like he's like a deformed demon. Yeah.
Is there such a thing? Don't know what demons look like, but yeah, odd choice when you've got all the choice in the world.
Yeah, and as Abigail and the demon are the parents of Raziel, it turns out as well during part of the dialogue that Abigail, all she ever wanted was a son, and the greatest gift she's ever been given was the demon's seed.
Yeah. In those words, seed. He granted me his seed.
She loves her son so much that she just had to make out with him.
Ugh. Was that whilst he was also in the slimy green? Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they had like tongues coming out, tongue action. So there's no faking
it was.
that.
They were going for it. So kudos for dedication and just going for it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't take that away from any of the performances. They definitely committed.
Yeah, kudos to everybody. I am so looking forward to the next full moon feature. My blood is pumping.
It's your favourite subgenre now.
Yeah. My favourite production company.